The Nantucket Historical Association presents Jose Reyes on the history of lightship baskets. Mr. Reyes was born in the Philippines in 1902. In 1945, after graduating from Harvard and serving in the Philippine Army and later the Underground, Mr. Reyes came to Nantucket where he revitalized the craft of making Nantucket Lightship Baskets.
I was born in the Philippines, in the northern part of north of Manila, about 200 miles north of Manila. And I am the eldest of 10 children. I used to make baskets as a boy, not to sell, but as a, to make baskets for our use for my mother. When she wanted a basket for, to keep rice in, or a basket to go to market in, or a basket to keep clothes in. And we even make baskets to cook rice in, so we can use it like you use a platter. Mm-hmm. And that's how I learned how to make a basket. We use mostly rattan and bamboo. We process them also. We process them by hand. They're not manufactured like this. As we went to the fields, to the forest really, to cut the bamboo. I used to go to the forest and help cut this cane material from there. Mm-hmm. And we bundled them in big bundles and float them down the river. And we used them as a raft to go down the river from the mountains. And then from there we take them to home and process them. Well, you split it until you get the width that you want and need. And then you also clean them up by hand. It's a very long, difficult process. Nobody knows exactly when, but the lightship baskets was first started, really discovered or invented by the coopers who made the barrels for the whale oil. So that means that it has started just a little after the start of the whale industry here in Nantucket. They came wrapped around bales of anything that came from the Orient. Men from the ship's command, they bring in things that were bundled with cane, and they saved those and split them and made them by hand and made baskets out of them. And that's the way the lightship basket was started. As a matter of fact, the oldest what they call staves, the upright for the baskets, are made from from rattan.
Yes. And
they are not oak, but the oldest ones are made from cane. This is the cane that I'm using now. The name lightship basket is somewhat a misnomer, but I like the idea of calling them lightship baskets. There should be Nantucket baskets. Anyway, the people, the men who tended to the lightship baskets were Nantucket men, and some of them learned to do baskets on the mainland, on land here in Nantucket. So they brought their work to the lightship and made them there. And so what they made, they call them lightship baskets. And to make one lightship distinctive from another, the ones on the cross strip, I don't know whether you remember the cross strip here between Nantucket and the mainland or not. Then the binding, this binding here, they double it so that it's crossed. They cross-bound it, in other words, and makes it, makes it distinctive. First, of course, they had to make what they call the bottom, and then because they are that's all they knew. They use a wooden bottom, and they scour the round, if it's a round basket or an oval basket, so that they can insert the staves into that sometimes half-inch groove. Weave it, they didn't know how to weave freehand, so they had to make a mold. And the mold were made from the broken spars of the old ships. And you use this. And push it in there. And then let it dry for a day, and when that is dried, it comes to a point where you can weave it. Started this basket making by sometimes I say it's by force of necessity, because of the fact that they had 3 children, wanted to support them. I couldn't find a teaching job here, so I thought that I could do something of the nature work that I used to do when I was in the Philippines, the trade that I learned there. So I made baskets. The first basket I made was a free woven basket, freehand I say, and I didn't have any mold. Later on I found some molds and made the lightship baskets out of that mold. I still do make baskets without the mold when it's necessary. Some of my baskets are freehand woven, and as a matter of fact, that's about the more popular baskets, because they are different from any baskets that other people here make. The weaving of lightship baskets is simple. It's even simpler than the way we made baskets in the Orient. And because this weaving, you just weave it in and out, on top of the other. But there are a lot of fine things in it. In weaving this, for example, you have to be sure that it dovetails. At the end, you have to make the weaving dovetail so that it won't show when the ends won't show when you are finished. Befriended Mitchy Ray, who was the last man in Nantucket who was making baskets then, in those days when I came to live here. And he used to come to my house to talk and have coffee, and he was a very nice man. And he took us berrying. He showed me how to fish with the line, with a handrail around your head, Mm-hmm. And then he took me to his shop to see how he weaved the baskets. He never showed me how, but I saw how he did it, and it was simple enough so that I picked it up by the weaving of it through watching him. His father taught him how to weave baskets, and Mitchy was then about 70, 75 when I first knew him. That was in 1946. He had a shop here on small lane here off Pleasant Street. He remembered that at first he was selling the baskets for about $1.50, and then later on they sold for $3. Later on they sold for more. And when I knew him, he was selling them for about $17 or $18 per basket. And right now the same baskets in town would sell for almost $300. The same baskets that he made. This is one, excuse me. This is a basket that Mitchy made. Mitchy Ray made this. And he believes that A lightship basket should have this curved handle with the middle here bulge, so that it's what he calls a lightship handled basket. And you can see how nicely he formed the ends here to be attached to the basket.
Are those called ears? I heard somebody mention.
These are the ears. That's metal ears.
Yes.
But the old baskets are made with wooden ears. They were not made with copper. This is copper. They were made with wooden ears, and I like them better. The wooden ears. Mm-hmm. They're of course for nesting. This basket,
what is nesting before you?
Nesting basket is you make them so that they go inside one another. I have a series of blocks here that nest up to 8. The big one, then smaller one, and I can make even up to about I can have up to 12 because I have an egg basket mold, which is it's just one holds one basket, one egg. I mean.
What were those used for?
The egg basket. Well, they claim that when the people wanted to mail baskets to anywhere, they take this egg basket and put an egg in it, and we'll go to the post office and exchange it for a stamp. To exchange the egg for a stamp.
Yes.
And for years, according to Mitchy, that's the way people they didn't have money, and they used egg to mail their baskets. In other words, the post office postmaster gives them a stamp, and probably the postmaster takes it home to eat.
That's a good story.
Then later on, the size of basket depended upon how many eggs you can put in it. There's 1 egg basket, there's 2 egg basket, there's 3 egg basket, and so on. You know, the purpose of this is to thin out make the cane thinner and clean out the things that the machine didn't remove when they, because this is all machine made, you know, this cane is all machine prepared. The rattan that I use are a special import from Java. The reason for that is that Java cane is the best in the world. And the reason why they're the best is that Java is hardly touched by storms. The typhoons that wreck almost all of the islands in the Pacific is hardly known in Java. Therefore, these plants that the rattan that grows sometimes 300 feet long are undisturbed until they're ready to be harvested, and that makes them also very pliable, very adapted for this kind of weaving. But take the rattan from the Philippines. Also, there are a lot of rattan in the Philippines, but they are tougher. Because the Philippines is visited by typhoons quite frequently. Every year it is, and so the plant has got to be tougher to withstand the buffeting of the typhoon. Because I never dreamed that this would, baskets would be an industry here in Nantucket. It's a big industry right now.
How many people make baskets now?
I could imagine that there are about at least 10. I came to live here in Nantucket way back in 1945. nobody was interested in baskets. No, I was asking Mitchy why. Well, you can't sell it, you can't make a living out of it. So that went on for a while, and then when I started making the baskets with the cover, then it also popularized the lightship baskets without the cover. And now they're just as popular as the ones with cover. People carrying them around, a lot of people making them, and I'm so glad that in a way I helped revive a craft in Nantucket that is very valuable. It's a Nantucket, really a Nantucket basket, because there's no basket in the world that has a bottom like this. The bottom of the basket is wood, and most of the baskets all over the world that I know have woven bottoms. They weave the bottom with the same materials they would the side with. I would like to say that I did invent the cover, but I discovered later that there were some who made the covers differently. It's flat, and there's a small piece of wood in the middle. Mm-hmm. And I never saw those until much later, until I have made these baskets myself. And after a while, the people saw that it's nice, and Charlie Sale is one of the first ones really the first one, who made the carving for the basket. He made them out of ebony, and then he shifted to ivory. And then I learned to do it myself also by just, by process of knowing how to work with my hands. And when I learned to do that, I showed Alita Macy how to do it. And then Nancy Chase came along, and I showed her how to start on this ivory. Mm-hmm. And look where she is. It's about practically 2 days work, working 8 hours a day to make one basket. The size of the basket differs, makes the time a little different too, but in general it's about 2 days work for each basket. That includes probably the making of the handle and the making of preparing the top like this or this, preparing this top. Mm-hmm. And preparing the bottom and doing the ivory eye. I do all my ivory turning. At the very start, I didn't have any mold. So in order to be able to get going, I made round baskets without a mold. I made the bottom, yes, and then wove them up without the mold, which turned out very well. It can't be standardized because, as you know, that's all handmade and all the way through. And then I made other shapes. Of course, the nice thing about knowing how to weave without a mold is that you can make it in any shape. I made baskets oblong. I made them square. I made square baskets. I made them rectangular. I made half round. I made creel, and I made one basket with a long bottom, and the ladies called it later to be the Queen's basket, because the ladies here, the English ladies here in town, had me make a basket to be sent to the Queen's coronation, Queen Elizabeth of England. And ever since then, they've called that shape basket a Queen's basket. They are only made in Nantucket. and it's become a symbol of having been to Nantucket. And also a lot of ladies who own them have vied with each other to put ivory on top, and has become a status symbol. In other words, the more ivory you have, the more money you spend, the more affluent you are, the more they recognize that you are, you know. And so a lot of ladies call it a mink, Nantucket mink, which is in a way complementary to the basket. That's fitting it. Because I never dreamed that this would, baskets would be an industry here in Nantucket.
This program was a presentation of the Nantucket Historical Association, made possible through partial funding from the Massachusetts Bicentennial Commission. The Nantucket Historical Association welcomes your membership and would like to encourage you to visit the Whaling Museum and the Peter Folger Museum any Saturday afternoon all winter long.